A hostile environment for job creation in our economy. And that's why, frankly, it adds a sense of urgency in terms of this year's election to be able to turn things around, because the only thing that's going to change it are changing the policies, and that means changing the person in the White House.
Friday's numbers were very far from where we want them to be, where the president wants them to be.
Arguably, analysts on both sides of the aisle say the president has had a couple of tough days for his campaign heading into the fall. Liberal columnist from the New York Times, Maureen Dowd, wrote this over the weekend, quote, "The president who started off with such dazzle now seems incapable of stimulating either the economy or the voters. In some ways, he's still finding himself, too absorbed to see what's not working. But the White House is a very hard place to go on a vision quest, especially with a storm brewing." With that, let's bring in our panelists from Washington.
We know from research and from past elections that voter attitudes start to coalesce and harden at this point, 5 or 6 months out. These numbers are bad, and the deeper you look into them, the worse they are. I'll just give you one. The unemployment rate for young adults, 18 to 29, is about 12%. If you think that's not going to affect turnout and voting behavior in this November's elections, you're wrong. I can tell you that's one of the reasons the Obama people are starting to panic. They have good reason to.
Yeah, I think the Democrats are definitely very, very concerned, and the White House is panicking about this. And
no one's arguing whether Mitt Romney's qualified to be president.
Charles?
Well, they're at the bottom of the barrel here. Again, having tried the attack on Bain, they're now going after him as governor. I mean, I just think he needs to cite one number. When I left office, the unemployment rate in the state was 4.7%. Obama's been in office for a term, it's 8.2%. Well, who do you trust? I don't think this is a hard thing to answer. I understand why they're panicking, because they're getting numbers now. They had a false dawn, a false hope in the early days of the winter when they got relatively good numbers, when the Republicans were killing each other in the debates, and Romney's negatives were going up as a result of all those negative ads. So that's when the race went from one that a year ago you would have said was in the bag for Republicans to one where Obama had an advantage. That advantage completely dissipated. And I would say the race now is almost even, but with Romney, I think, with a marginal advantage that might actually build. And the reason is Obama has not a single idea on how to change the trajectory of the economy. So all he can do is to try to change his narratives. And how many has he got? From what Axelrod said, I would say he hasn't got many.